Hi folks, welcome to my 8-Bit Retro Journal. Today I just got this in the mail. I know what it is, so I'm actually really excited. You notice that the label is all black because usually I like to let these things sit for a while, but I'm excited to get this, so I wiped it down with alcohol just to get rid of any potential germs. Yeah, but I know what this is, so let me open it up. And I believe what this is a, it's a Wi-Fi SD Adapter card. So if you remember my part 4 of my multitasking video, if you saw that, I actually had one of these already, and I played with it, and it turned out that the vDrive could not read it. And I also tried it on my Q68, which had a couple of SD slots, and so I contacted the maker of this, and he thought that maybe that some of the newer versions don't support the serial interface. I think it's SPI, and so I decided to send it back, and I got this one off of eBay for like $16 or $17, so it's really cheap, from Canada, so it actually arrived pretty quickly. So let me open it up and see if I can get it to work. I think there we go. Just some glue in there. That's it. All right. Okay. So now we just need to get it out. Here we go. Ta-da! Yep. SD card adapter. You can see there's a little slot at the top. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the old card reader. So this is actually also an SD card reader, but it's not Wi-Fi. It's just a normal one. And so I'm going to take the card out of this, put this card in here, and let's hope it works. So last time when I tried it, what happens is this will constantly give a yellow or orange light saying it's no good. So, oh, it worked on first try. That's great. Let's give it a try. F2, and then I'm going to do a directory of MDV4. See if I get a listing. It did. All right. Yay. Ended up working. Now what I want to do is I have this older iPhone, and I'm going to try to connect that with the Wi-Fi. So let's actually first turn it on. Okay, so you're not going to get to see my password, so I'm off screen. Okay, and so let's see if it can, so I am connected to my local network, but let's see if we can actually connect to, if we can see the wireless connection. So here we're going to click on others. Oh, sorry, I actually just have to, I was being impatient. We have to wait till this oh, and here it is. So here you can see that there is actually the Wi-Fi SD. So if I click on that, it's going to want 8 nines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Join. And let's see if it comes up with a login screen. Sometimes it comes up with a login screen, which is kind of nice to get. Usually have to wait a minute for that. It's connected, and so that means the SD vDrive is giving it power. But so let's go here and see if we can't open Google up. Sometimes that'll bring a login page, but no, it's not doing it. Okay, so so that doesn't seem to be working. So Let's see if we can't. So the this talks about an application called Wi-Fi at SDCF on the Apple Store. So let's see if we can't get that. All right. So again, once again, make sure you can see this. I'm going to go to the Apple Store. Type in Wi-Fi at, oh, I'm not connected to the network. All right, so I need to actually go and disconnect from Wi-Fi SD, and again, this time I'm not going to click other. I'm going to wait. There we go, and go to Slinky, and that should have automatic login. And so it's logged in. So now I should be able to go to App Store, and oh, there it is, Wi-Fi SD. All right. Guess there's not too many Wi-Fi at. Here it is, and I'm going to install it. They once, yeah, this is an old version of iOS, so I'm going to have it do an older version. And it's installing it. So if I actually close this now, the button doesn't work great. You can see that it's doing the install right there. So I'll just have to wait till it finishes the install. And I might fast forward if it takes too long. No, it's moving along. And so what I'm going to try to do is, from what I've read, I don't think these applications allow you to write, but at least if I can read, that would be great. So I'm going to try to see if I can't read stuff off of the vDrive once this has been installed. So it's still taking a second or two. And it's almost done, and here we go. I'm going to open it up. All right, Wi-Fi at SDCF, and card not connected. Oh, because I need to, so I need to actually now change my network from my home network to Wi-Fi SD again, yeah. So that's the part that's kind of confusing about these Wi-Fi cards, is you constantly have to, so it's connected. Unless you have two, on my, when I work on my Windows, I'm actually going to use a wired and use Wi-Fi to connect to that. I think that's easier. Okay, so now I'm going to connect. Oh, and it says connected. Look at that. All right, let's browse. Okay, you've got, oh, so this is other. Oh, yep, that's the stuff that's on there. Can it actually read the config file? It cannot. Temp is the, so I have these organized directories, and temp is the current thing I have, and I actually have unzip going. So I wonder if I can I read that? Oh yeah, I can. Look at that. TK-dbin. Can I read? No, it doesn't know. But can I download it? So I'm going to download I'm going to see if I can download unzip and also the text file to see what it looks like. Hit, yep, download to local apps. Looks like it did both. Now I'm going to back off. There they are, look at that. And yep, it can read it. So I have a connection between this phone and my Wi-Fi card. That's pretty cool. Of course, what I really want is I want to be able to connect on my Windows machine so that I can transfer files over. Again, I don't think there's a way to push files here. We can look under settings to see what we've got. So it's in access point mode, can also be station mode. I think station mode means that actually access point is what you expect. I don't know what station mode is actually. I'll have to research that. You can change the IP address, number of people that can log on to it, channel that it's on, the name and the password. So that's pretty good. All right. So and then it has info. Yep. And you can actually get information, and I think it resets it every time you plug and unplug this. So if you go under settings, you can actually get information about the Wi-Fi card. Yeah, so it's 100.101, and that seems to be the gateway. All right, good. So we have a connection, but what I'd like to see is, can I get that connection on my Windows machine? So let's do that next. What I want to do is connect my Windows machine to the Wi-Fi SD. So I've got my Windows configured to have my Ethernet cable plugged in so that I'm using the Ethernet card, not Wi-Fi. And so Wi-Fi is free to connect to the card. And so it's right down here, if you see it, Wi-Fi SD. So I'm going to connect to it, and it's 8 nines. So connect, and yep, I think eventually it's going to put a little exclamation mark here because I obviously don't have internet connection. It's just Wi-Fi. So if you go, it's eventually going to put an X here because I'm not going onto the internet. But that's not the purpose of Wi-Fi SD. So if I go and try to 192.168.100 and try to connect to that, it is going to, yeah, it's going to fail. It would have already opened up. Yeah, it says checking for firewall proxy. No, I don't really have anything firewall. So the other one to try is 192.168.101, which was the gateway. That's taking a little longer. And I'll try the third one, is 192.168.100.101. Oops, that's it. When I booted it a few times, it actually changed it to 101 at one point. So maybe that's a special one. So that one failed and took too long to respond. And that one refused to connect. Oh, I say, so this did. Okay, so it sees it, but it doesn't, this refused to connect. Okay, so those don't work. As I said, see, it finally did that because it doesn't have, I usually give you an X on the internet part, but yeah, it just has limited connectivity. I was afraid that there's no, well, the funny thing is when I tried the other card, it didn't work, Easy Share. It actually had 192.168, I think it was 410, and then it had a weird 464 port. And so that's my concern, is that this might have some connection into it, but they haven't published it. I'm going to try the same thing, but change it to 10. I don't sure remember what it was. I returned that card, so I don't have the documentation, but I said it right in the documentation. So I can try that. Let's see if, yeah, so neither one of those. Took too long to respond. Took too long to respond. Oh, so does that mean it exists? Yeah, I might have to do a little bit of network sniffing to figure out. But it looks like it's going to give me the same message, 10.4 and 4.10. Yeah, too long. So it just means it doesn't exist. So I do have another option. I have this Android emulator, and I can try to connect using the same app. So I can go to Play Store and search for Wi-Fi at, yeah, as soon as you do at, you get that. That's funny. And install, yep. And so what do we got? Well, I want to Play Store. So I have that, so let's open it up. And yeah, it doesn't see that. Now the one, so if I go up here under networks and pull this all the way down, so the problem with this is it actually does sort of fakes, so it doesn't actually see my entire Wi-Fi list. So it's an emulator. It's actually not an actual Android running on a virtual machine, which might be a way around that. But I can add a new one. So this is called Wi-Fi at SD. So if I go Wi-Fi at SD, and I give it not a proxy, but static IP address, and I could give it 192.168.100.100. The gateway is right. Save that. It doesn't find it, obviously, but yeah. So I think that's what's going to cause it to stop. And yeah, it doesn't find it either. Yeah. So let's see if can we. Running Android in VirtualBox. How to install Android in VirtualBox? So there's video. So it looks like that's doable. So I might try that, because that would give me access to my actual Wi-Fi card, which is what I need, and that would cause this to work. So at least I could have an app running on my Windows machine and drag files from my Windows machine to from the application, from the card to this little application to my Windows machine. That wouldn't be all that bad. So let's see if I think I should quit that app. So what about Mimu access Wi-Fi card? How to set up a network, including proxy and Mimu. So that might also be an option, so I'll have to look into that. One thing, however, is this app only goes in one direction, which is from the cards to me. So I'm going to have to do a little bit more sleuthing. So I'm going to do a little bit of research and come back to see if I can find anything that's going to help me with that. So give me a sec. Okay, so so I did find this page. So if I scroll up, so this is using Wi-Fi SCF card. And it talks about here, update Wi-Fi at SDCF app doesn't crash, blah, blah, blah. Just reporting a network which is called, so mine is called Wi-Fi at SD, not at SDSF. But he used Shuttersnitch to basically do a little bit of packet sniffing. And he discovered that there's an FTP port and a WebDev port. So if I try that, so 8080, so does that mean that's usually the HTML port, 100, 100, 80, 80. And and then if I try it on one, I don't think it'll be the gateway either. That's going to take longer, and I can try the same thing on 101. And that's also failed pretty quickly. That's still going, but I think it's just going to time out. And then it has an FTP port, so let's try that. So I can go, I'll do 100 again, and it's port 27,000. Just some random port, FTP, and so what that does, yeah, it's not going to be able to. So generally, if it worked, is you get a list of and then here, what about one? So yeah, that's also not. It just takes longer for one to resolve itself. But if it were an FTP listing, usually the browser just gives you access to that. Well, but it's giving me the same refused connection, so I don't think it exists. Yeah.
So the other option is I do have a secure shell SSH, and this does allow for a quick connect, and I could put in here. So the port is I forget now what the port is. I think it's 21. No, is it 23 for FTP? Let me find out one more time. Port for FTP. Oh, I guess I can just put in 21, but I can, and here I can put in, I can try 21 first. And so it'll be 192.168 100 100, and I think admin is the yeah. So that's just gonna not do it. And if I try 2700, 27,000. Yep, that's also not going to do it. Okay, so yeah, it just doesn't really let you do that. Okay, so I don't think it's going to work, but I think I might have to use this Shuttersnitch app to try to capture some packet info to figure out what's going on here. So, but yeah, anyway, so that's so not very successful.
So I figured out how to set up station mode, and it's actually pretty convenient because it stops you from having to constantly switch between your router and the SD card's access point. So let me demonstrate how to do that. So coming back in here, let's zoom in on that. So I'm going to open up the app, and we're still connected. You can see that we can still see all that stuff. And so now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go under settings, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to change this to station mode. Yep, set to station mode. And then here I'm going to add in my SSID for my router. And then I got to add in its key, and I'm not going to show that to you, so I'm going to do that off camera. My secret, but it's it's very localized, so I'm going to get that off the screen, and again I'm going to go done. So there, confirm. So now go back, and I got to change also this to station mode, and so now it's going to disconnect. I quit the program, and so now you'll see that it actually, it's disconnected because, and now it's connecting this Linky again, because the Wi-Fi SD no longer exists. So now if you search for it, you won't find it. Right? But I'm now connected to mine, and I can actually go and do a Google search. Yeah, so that works. Yay. Go back out here. However, I'm still connected to it's connected, and I can go here, and I can still browse. So this allows me to then, I'll go back in temp and just demonstrate that I can see what's in here. And let's copy another file. Let's copy the all right, I'm going to copy this one. Copy, download. And it's downloaded, and we'll go to local storage, and I've got all those 3 files still in there. So yeah, so this is a much more convenient mode because now you don't have to switch between your Wi-Fi and the SD card's Wi-Fi. So and now this also changes the IP address. So let's go back here. Well, the IP address of, oh, right, so it's actually in the device. So we have to actually go back here and look at not local storage, settings. Yeah, here we go. And so now we're at 192.168.0.14 is our IP address. So I'm going to go back on the computer to see if this helps. I don't think it will, just because an IP address is an IP address. So going through my router versus going directly to the SD card should make a difference. But let's give that a try as well. Okay.
So now I want to test for the station mode, since I have it set up for that. So this should not appear. So Wi-Fi SD should not appear here, and I don't see it. There's a long list of them, but I don't see it. And again, I don't think it's going to change anything, but I'm going to clear these out and trying to, so it's 192.168.0.14, I think is what it was. Let me just double check on that. I can use my, and so if I hit, no, it's not doing anything. And again, I can try that with port 8080, and also try that with FTP port 27,000. Yeah, so this took too long to respond. And again, I can bring back my secure shell client and do a quick connect, and in here put 192.168.0.14 admin. Now admin, I did read on the back of the card, it does, and on the eBay listing it says it's admin. 21, as we remember, so that was FTP connection. And that is not doing it. And then we can try 27,000. And I think we've exhausted all avenues. So, yeah. So it's just not connecting. So I think I need to look more at Shutter Snitch to see if I can't figure out a way to see if there's any sort of backdoor into this that I could use. But I'd like to eventually maybe even write an app that could communicate so that I could push information onto the card. Now these cards basically run Linux. And so that there might be a backdoor into it. You know, not very much information is out there for these cards. I know that only the more expensive Flash Air by Toshiba, which costs about $90, has information, and it's basically been used by folks that do 3D printing. They want to basically file service to 3D printers, so they don't have to unplug those SD cards. But not much in retro computing that I've seen. You know, there's lots of these SD card readers for, well, there's one for the QL, but most retro equipment nowadays has an SD card reader. And why not do a Wi-Fi file server that you could then grab from, you know, your laptop or whatnot? So that's kind of what I want to get to. So this is going to be part one of a multi-part series. Next, I'm going to try to use Shutter Snitch to see if I can't find anything, and then we'll see if it goes past that. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. If you have any comments, please leave them below, and stay safe.